Hello, I am Rags. I'm here to have a chat with you about a couple articles that I was made aware of. Someone linked me these on my Discord in my suggestions for content room. My Discord is, you get guaranteed access if you support me on Subscribestar or Patreon. How incredible isn't that? So, multiple ads. Microsoft and Sony are essentially looking to put ads in games. Free-to-play games, etc., right? And I think this is worthy of discussion. There's a few things to talk about here, because I'm not super doom and gloom about it, though I'm certainly skeptical about it, as I think everyone should be. No one likes to hear that they're going to be getting more ads, but surely there has to be some kind of a positive to this, right? It can't all be bad. Enjoy some lovely Battlefield 5 footage as we have a chat. Don't worry, there will not be relevant visuals. Feel free to listen. Now, whenever you get a free-to-play game, there is generally going to be an understanding. That understanding of getting into a free-to-play game is that a free-to-play game gives you a limited version of that experience, right? You don't get everything the game has to offer, and the trade-off is it's free. You don't have to pay for it. You can play to your heart's content, and ideally, what I think a dev should do is a developer should encourage you with that good gameplay experience to invest more time and more money as you become more personally invested in the game itself. I got into Sea of Thieves, and it's with the Battle Pass, so it's technically not free, but there is there's all kinds of stuff you could spend money on in that game. And I liked Sea of Thieves so much, and I would recommend people try it out with their friends. I spent $7 or whatever getting a dog and an outfit for him so he could be on our ship, and I could hold him and show him off to people, and he could follow me around, and we can have a gay old time. It's great. And I have no problem with just spending money in a game. Guild Wars 2 is a good example. There is a free-to-play version of that game. You get a lot of content for not paying anything. You get a certain level. You get access to a big portion of the maps and da-da-da-da-da. But if you like the game, you could get the proper version, get the full experience. You can buy expansions, yada yada. You know how it goes. Ideally, you don't want to annoy players into giving you money, right? You don't want to say, we're going to give you the experience, but we're going to hold so much back from you that it really pesters you and annoys you, and you feel like you have to pay us money if you want to enjoy yourself. I think it's better when developers say, yeah, you don't have to buy in at all, but we're going to give you this huge, expansive demo, and we hope that you like that, so you'll pay for extras and pay for the full experience, right? Because, games got to make money. And so we reach the point where that aspect, free-to-play versus premium versions of, apps, programs, games, is most relevant here. We reach the point where this idea sort of intersects with ads in video games, ads in free-to-play games. No one is happy to hear that they will be advertised to more. I don't mind being advertised to in certain scenarios, but what I don't like is being annoyed by advertisements. I think that adblock is it's like the perfect example. Why do so many people use adblock? Because ads annoy them. I don't want to watch, and I'm not going to be hypocritical here. I use adblock too, and while I understand that a lot of people who watch my stuff using adblock, it probably loses me some amount of money, I don't blame them. One bit. Don't blame them one bit. I'm not going to be hypocritical about it. I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I do not blame you whatsoever for you using adblock. Because I get it. Because I totally understand. When I'm browsing the internet, I don't mind if ads just sort of stayed on the side. If they were just sort of over there and I might notice them, that would be fine, right? But instead, ads got more and more and more intrusive. They would pop up in front of your face. They would flash and they'd move and they'd play videos. I think the straw that broke the doggo's back for me was I finally installed AdBlock when ads started playing sound. That should never fucking happen. Let's be frank. If I go to your website to read an article, or I think it was on like a YouTube video or something, where I was trying to watch a video and I had to track down some ad that was playing like an ad, like a commercial on TV. Some bitch was talking about a pill or a car insurance scam or whatever. I had to track it down. I had to look all over the page. Where is this damn ad that's playing sound? That's when I installed AdBlock, because it got so obtrusive to the experience that I just couldn't handle it. Everybody has a breaking point. I think that's really key to this discussion. Everyone has a breaking point. We are used to advertisement. It is a necessary part of selling products. If you make something, if you invest in a company, if you invest in research and coming up with something, you need to make sure people know about it. If people never learn that you made the thing, then no one's ever gonna know about it to buy it. So I understand the purpose of advertising and why it's vital. But this is all in execution. Putting ads in a free-to-play game, putting ads into games there's a great deal of potential there for, dare I even say, artistry. There's a good deal of potential there for creativity. Do I think that will be the primary way that this idea is meted out in games? No, I don't. But we shall discuss. Like I said, everyone has a break point when it comes to ads. That break point for me was when they started popping up in front of my face and when they started playing sound. That was a big one. That was the break point that crossed a line and I couldn't take it anymore and I got rid of the ads. But I didn't do it in like in a healthy way in terms of the company, right? I blocked the ads with a program. I didn't say, wow, that makes me want to buy the thing. I will give you more money, or I like this game so much that I will give you a premium so that these ads go away. Right? I wasn't encouraged to do it in a healthy way. I was annoyed, and so I circumvented them, as so many people do, because people hate ads, because it crosses so many lines for so many different people. You've been watching Battlefield 5 footage. It takes place in the 1940s, of course, regardless of what you might see aesthetically in certain aspects of that game. I love it to death, but there's some strange design choices. Let's say you're walking down the streets of a 1940s city, and maybe could be in Germany, could be in Britain, could be France, wherever. Rotterdam as a map would be a good example for this. You're going down the city streets and you're playing this game, and up there on a billboard, there is an ad for Coca-Cola. Now I'm going to try and present to you an ideal concept. The advertisement looks something like it's straight out of a 1940s photograph. It's stylized. It has the look of a 1940s. It's got a lovely woman with an ice cold Coca-Cola, and it's refreshing and amazing, and it's very diegetic. Diegetic is the word for it. It is of that universe. It is a part of that world, right? And in Battlefield 5, which is attempting to recreate to some degree an actual time period, accuracy to that time period and adapting that into a video game is a big part of that game's appeal. So it makes sense to have this ad look the way that it does in a location where you would actually see that ad, or where it is believable that it could be, and stylized in a way that makes it fit in as part of the universe. If I got a Coca-Cola ad while I was playing Warhammer Vermintide or Mordhau, it would be much more jarring. Because I think there are two general mindsets that that people will sort of sort themselves into. One mindset being, let's use another example, right? Grand Theft Auto. You're driving down the road through the city in Grand Theft Auto, and you look up and you see a billboard and it says Coca-Cola. And you will probably be about one of two different types. You will say, maybe, Coca-Cola, that's a real drink. I've drank Coca-Cola. I've had that. I know what it tastes like. It is not of this world. It is not of Los Santos. It is not a part of this universe. It's part of the real world. And when these real world things that aren't parodies, that are not, social commentary, none of that, but when a real advertisement that I see in real life, when I see that in this game, it removes my enjoyment from the game. It crosses a line where my brain can't quite reconcile a real thing being in this fantasy world. It doesn't mesh and it doesn't gel. But you might be of the other mindset. The other mindset being, oh, look, as I'm driving down the streets of Los Santos in my car, down this modern American city. Oh, look, a Coca-Cola ad. Those are in the real world. I know about Coca-Cola. Putting this real thing in a way that makes sense aesthetically into a world that is attempting to parody or simulate the real world to a degree, that makes the world feel more real to me. I think these are the two general mindsets that you can have. And I think that if it's done properly, I fall more into the latter category. If I was playing a game like, I think the Battlefield 5 example, if I was running down the streets in Battlefield 5 and I was in like a city map and there was a poster on the wall or a billboard that had Coca-Cola at, this video isn't sponsored by Coca-Cola, just so we're clear. I'm walking down the streets in 1940s wherever, and I see a 1940s style ad for a real product that existed in that world and in our world that is being sold. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think my way of looking at things, I wouldn't have an issue with that. But I wouldn't blame you if you did. And that's another key takeaway here, is I don't think a lot of people are keen on the idea of seeing real products in video game worlds, because to them, there is a distinct separation between the fantasy of the game and the reality that they are in. And when those things merge in certain ways, particularly through advertisements, their brain sees that and says, oh, that's I'm being advertised to in this game that I paid money for. I don't like that. If everyone had a mindset like the second of those two, I don't think it'd be an issue. The problem is that a lot of people probably aren't. And I don't know how many people fall on either side. Perhaps I'm in the minority. I very well may be. But that's because I have a line, that line that's crossed. It's different for different people. Like I said, a Coca-Cola ad that would be in Mordhau or Vermintide, that would cross the line for me because it doesn't make sense in universe. And maybe that's the big artistic challenge here. How do you put ads in a game in a way that will annoy the least amount of people? Because if you annoy enough people, they might stop playing because it annoys them so much about the game. Or they will not buy your product out of spite, which is a real thing. There are products I will not buy out of spite. There are things that people will not buy because the ads annoy them so much they do not want to reward that company with money when that company has annoyed them. There are plenty of people out there who want to reward the good and punish the bad. And I think that's a good attitude to have. I've said this before. I think it's a good thing if you want to be a good consumer of video games in particular. When a company does something good, give them money. When they do something bad, do not give them money. They know where money comes from. You want to build a pattern of behavior in companies. You want to train them like animals, essentially. But back to the advertising aspect. Depending on the different kinds of games that you create, right? Let's take the two examples of Warhammer Vermintide, a dark fantasy game that takes place in a totally fantasy world where you and a band of other people fight rats and demons and all kinds of different stuff. Compare that to Battlefield 5, a game that takes place in the real world in the 1940s and is recreating, in a video game way, granted, but is recreating, often to very good degrees, a real scenario that happened, where real products can actually exist. Grand Theft Auto is another similar example. It's a realistic American modern city that relies on reality to create parodies, and to produce social commentary. These two examples, Battlefield 5, Grand Theft Auto, I think it would be a lot easier to have certain advertisements for products. I wouldn't expect to see an NVIDIA ad in Battlefield 5 in any way that would not pull me out of the experience, right? Because that is my brain associates graphics cards and processors and things of that nature. I know those are super modern things. I say super modern. Those are modern things. Seeing them in an environment where they couldn't possibly exist instantly, even if they're stylized properly, which would help, I suppose, but I'm instantly pulled out of it. You've broken the immersion. You've broken my brain's ability to accept this as part of the world. And that will annoy me. I bought a game to be like World War II, to be like the 1940s. And you can only push it so far until it breaks. In fact, that's what happened with that game in particular when the game announced, with the very, very diverse cast of soldiers that you had. Black women running around as American soldiers and things of that nature, right? It pulled people instantly out of the potential for being immersed, which is something a lot of gamers want when they buy a game. When you buy a free-to-play game, there is an understanding that you have not given the company anything. They are using that to get you to buy into the game. And this can absolutely be a very healthy relationship. It just depends on the details, right? You want to encourage gamers to stick with a game, to invest time and get enjoyment, and therefore give you money for a product. One that will continue to give them enjoyment over time. And when you buy a free-to-play game and you have that understanding of you're probably going to see an ad, or there's going to be some kind of a cost, dare I say, a cost for not paying. The cost of not paying is not monetary, it's you don't get access to the full content, and you might get advertised to. I don't want to be advertised to if I've paid for the premium version of something. If I pay for the premium version of a thing, don't advertise to me. I don't want to be advertised to. I gave you money already. But if I buy a product like a Battlefield game, a Grand Theft Auto game, if I've already given money for the experience, how far can you, as a creative entity, an advertising agency, a developer, an artist, a modeler, how far can you put an ad into a game until it starts to cross that line for enough people? There is a level of artistry and creativity that can exist with making ads in games. And maybe, if you do it just right, you will not only not annoy players, but you can even add to the world, which makes it more immersive, which players will generally really like, and at the same time, be advertising to the players in this very diegetic, passive way. Some games, of course, lend themselves to that far more than others. I don't know how you could advertise Coca-Cola in a Vermintide game, or in an Assassin's Creed game set far in the past, right? How cheeky can you get? How artistic can you create things that make a player want to go, oh yeah, I want to buy Coca-Cola now? I don't know. Maybe that's where all the talent and the creativity comes in, when an advertising agency teams up with a video game developer and says, how do we get you to advertise our product in your game? How lazy will a dev be when they're handed a check? Cash money. How far will they go to make it a part of their game and not make it stick out like a sore thumb? Especially when again, they got that company wagging money in front of them saying, advertise Coca-Cola, advertise NVIDIA, advertise, Tums or Burt's Bees chapstick or whatever it might be. It might be hard to pass down, which isn't an excuse. It's simply an explanation for why some companies will go the lazy route. Take the money, say fuck it, and now you've got a Coca-Cola ad popping up in front of your face because you bought the free-to-play version of an MMO. There's a lot of potential here for this idea to be executed really well and actually add to video gaming. However, it is 2022, and I am very skeptical of anything video game related, as all of you should be. And so, do I think this will be an overall good thing for gamers? Probably not. I just hope that it's less, as little obtruse, as little. I hope that it. God, I'm getting stuck on my words. I hope that it bugs us the least amount. I hope that it intrudes on our games in the slightest way possible. That's all I can really hope for. I hope it doesn't pull us out of the experience and annoy us much at all. But we will see. Maybe some companies will do it better than others. And maybe some companies will take advantage of the potential to express creativity while also giving their business a little boost through advertising revenue. But what'll happen? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Those are my 20 minutes or so of off-the-cuff thoughts on this topic. Hopefully, you've been given something to think about or mull over. But let me know what you think. I do read my comments. You guys take care. I will see you later. Ciao, toodaloo, see ya.